Oh shit, I'm using I downloaded some a browser plugin for Twitter, so I don't see like the sidebar with the stream. I need to find it.
You said yes to a Bloomberg interview.
No, it's actually quite good. It's like hiding the For You page and all of these, you know, things that I don't want to see necessarily. People getting killed by like street fights and stuff. So,
It's just usual
so yeah,
Tuesday in the USA.
yeah. Like you wake up, open the For You page, and like 15 people
It's
died
like
in like
rape and murder.
2 minutes. So yeah. So I deleted that. Okay, so
Also, we're already live, so
okay.
we're just gonna quickly share the links and we're gonna get into things.
Yes.
Also, let us know if I can finally be if my audio is okay. Last time I was a robot apparently, so hopefully.
Cool. Okay, I see the streams. I think all of it is just fine. Yeah. Okay, so I think
We can slowly roll.
Yeah.
Sound is perfect.
Sound is
Wow.
perfect. Nice.
What
Nice. Okay.
closing long at the top does it, motherfucker?
Nice. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to the next weekly stream. Let's have a quick talk of the things that happened in the last couple of days, especially yesterday. Though it's probably the most important day of our lives in the tariff world. But yeah. Before we start to get into things, the streams are sponsored by BonkBot. So if you guys want to show us some support and some love, you can check out the link for BonkBot, which is in the description. Yeah, I have this browser extension which like hides the chat on the Twitter live stream, so I can't even see it and post it there, but I'm not going to.
No, I did post everything, so good.
Okay, so if there is like some chat on on the stream, let me know because I cannot see it, but I can see YouTubers at least. So, okay, so yesterday we had quite a day. Basically, the tariffs got paused for 90 days. We also I believe that kind of a base tariff got basically set to 10%. So if I'm not completely mistaken, once again, I'm not the biggest macro enjoyer, and I don't really keep up with all these things so closely. But from my understanding, basically there are 10% tariffs at the moment on all the countries except China, which just gets this 100 and whatever percent. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think what's the most important here is there is this kind of 90-day pause now. Obviously, I personally feel like it's a still very tricky environment. The tweets, like the tweets can come out, or like the truth social media posts can come out, any second. It was kind of funny yesterday to watch like the S&P on lower time frame. I'm not sure if the Bitcoin did the same thing, but like the tweet he posted yesterday, or the truth social media thing he posted yesterday, it like started quite negative, that he's like increasing the tariffs on China, and then on the kind of like the end of the message, he mentioned that the tariffs go to pause for the next 90 days. So you could see like the lower time frame price action on stuff like S&P. I'm not sure if it was the same on BTC, but it like started to selling off, and then very quickly just sent much higher. You would need to look at like 1 minute time frames.
Yeah, I'm fine on 5 minutes, but I'll do one.
Yeah, it's just it's just a I think kind of funny reflection of the overall state of things now. Obviously, so Bitcoin, in my point of view, I think has been very correlated. It's very safe to
Yeah.
say. It's been extremely correlated to the S&P. Although we had that kind of a initial, but the S&P is like still down from the highs, or like that last week sell off basically did not happen on Bitcoin. So you can kind of say there was some sort of relative strength. At the same time, I'm pretty sure S&P moved more percentage wise than BTC yesterday. So
Yes, it did.
oh yeah. So in that kind of a, like if you would just look at the correlation more closely, I would say it's a little bit it's just a little bit all over the place. And it's also interesting to me because I would have expected that like if since Bitcoin held quite well in basically for the last month or so, that I would really expect that like there was a how to say, like, my expectations from the whole kind of move yesterday would have been that if there was some actual demand, which held obviously Bitcoin up, like there has been some sort of buying that didn't send this to zero during the sell-off which stocks had and S&P had. Uh, Usually what you kind of tend to see is that there is with these like more correlated assets is basically that once that one kind of stops selling off and then starts reversing, that the one that basically held, which was BTC in that case, would like send so much higher compared to the other things. But this wasn't the case yesterday. People seem to be jumping back into stocks and the S&P, although today once again S&P is pulling back quite a bit from the highs. Bitcoin is kind of doing nothing again, so it's pretty interesting correlation that there is right now at the moment, which seems to be like BTC just kind of doing nothing overall, while the volatility and kind of seems to be more fun for active trading and stuff like that kind of moved to the S&P with the whole tariff situation.
My turn, if you will.
Yeah, I think I don't have that much to be fair
Yeah, yeah.
when it comes to Bitcoin. I think I I'm overall I'm pretty bullish. I think, or like it's still holding out the lows. I think Bitcoin, we are still within this, basically forming this kind of a new range. Right now, it's a lot of sideways, but I think it doesn't look that bad. It's still I would say that if there is not going to be like any insane tweet bombs and all of the stuff, and if you would get like a correction for these next 90 days, I would expect Bitcoin to do well. But yeah, it's a very tough environment. I think even though I like to hold things for a little longer and focus more on swing trading, usually when there are conditions like these, I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone because it's just so much unexpected stuff going on. It's really tough to hold things with like a conviction, longer conviction, because especially with Trump, who's been like very unpredictable, basically. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
was
that's kind of all I have.
interesting week. We had a few interesting. Since our last stream, we had a few things that were very interesting. I think it's easier to showcase it on TradFi. Have you seen that? Basically, fuck, what is it, like the Cointelegraph intern but TradFi edition?
Yeah. That that
So
was that was that was Monday, basically, right?
yes, yeah,
That's
yeah. So
correct.
you have the
Yeah,
whipsaw,
yeah.
right? You have the fuckery
Mm.
when I'm just gonna quickly mention it because, like, I guess it was the main driver of price of both Bitcoin and TradFi, obviously. And as you said, fully correlated. No need to spend much more time that it's BTC 500 market. It's interesting because just on Monday, White House, so Walter Bloomberg, Zero Hedge, right? All these big accounts are saying that there might be a pause, and then White House like, fuck no, we know nothing about it. And then just 2 days later, they actually do it. Um, it's interesting. It's just 2 days, makes you think, and then they obviously Besant and Lutnik, all these guys, just basically Trump's cabinet are
Yeah.
tweeting, "Thanks for playing. Did you did you fade RKOL Anon?" Quite literally, like I have this. Where is this? White House. I
Yeah.
I'll go. You know, have you
No.
seen they basically tweeted art of the deal? It's insane. It's literally crypto
Yeah,
Twitter
and
shit, but
Trump
on
tweeting, like a couple hours before that you should. It's
yeah.
a good time to buy. Yeah, it's a big kind of a show. I feel like, which has always been, and even like the whole elections is just like so much reality TV type of content that it's very hard to believe that this is actually a real thing going on.
Yeah, did you see the White
uh,
House tweet? Let him cook. Just
yeah,
like,
and
but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
look, I'm not saying it to like be funny about it. Just the reality is, it was the price, the main reason for price move, if you will. Uh, from my understanding, as you said, we're not macro larping here and keep it crypto related. They paused some of the tariffs. Reality is four biggest business partners or trade partners are China, European Union, Mexico, and Canada, and they're all still getting hit pretty hard. So the whole all lower tariffs is just on the island with like penguins living on it and shit. So let's see. To me, yesterday was very interesting for day trading. I was long Bitcoin, which I closed, and my kind of reasoning was it was insane. The yesterday's move in TradFi has been some of the. It was one of. Okay, again, my English is not Englishing. Yesterday candle was third, like top 3 days since Second World War for markets, and it's just insane. It's like some of the best day, literally in history of capitalism, if you will. And to me, that was just like too much euphoria. I've seen people just scream, "Oh, we're so back!" When just yesterday it was so over.
yeah,
For TradFi, I think actually TA. I know you're gonna laugh, but fuck it. Like TradFi perfectly touched last cycle, or sorry, last cycle top from
yeah, like
2021.
the previous all time.
Yeah,
And
and it's I'm not gonna be calling Maren over here, but I do see this kind of like basically I even tweeted this in the morning, which I once in a month posted a serious tweet that I think this whole move below. Um, sorry, I'm speaking retarded, but the basically the move all the way to 4.68 4.8k on S&P was basically like your deviation. Um, Shout out Trader SE, but yeah, I just think as long as we hold this base established since like August, we should be good for TradFi. Simple like DA wise, but yeah,
yeah,
yesterday's
no, I mean, yeah, I shared some things in regards to the S&P as well during the some of the weekend stuff that I post. Yeah, it's been like super, fearful. Wicks
yeah,
traded around 45 or 60 or
close
whatever.
to 60. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, close to 60 futures were trading. The front one was trading at like 42. There has been this whole situation with Wix backwardation. Basically, there's like a peak fear signal because the front one we have like 1 month expiration and 3 month expiration in Wix. When usually when market is kind of calm, the 3 month is trading higher than the 1 month because people don't really care. People are not really that fearful about what's going to happen next compared to what's going to happen in 3 months. But obviously, this kind of dynamic that's the contango, if it's going to flip and goes to backwardation, it means that people are kind of super fearful. So yeah, we saw that. I think like once again, people were comparing this to levels of COVID, which I think was a little bit stretched because during COVID, Wix went to like 85, and it was much more. Um, I don't know. The COVID felt like more prolonged, more drastic. This one was like, obviously we had a large selling last week, but um, yeah, it's been funny. I don't know. It's like it seems like for me at least, like Twitter always kind of just um, makes things much kind of worse and much more drastic, and it's you can truly see that kind of it's so over. We are so back. Um, sentiment. So, but yeah, I'm looking at the
Oh
S&P
shit,
right
we're
now.
dumping pretty hard.
We
Sorry.
are dumping. We basically tested that kind of like a breakout point, from which we started selling off. So that's I don't know.
You
I
think like
personally feel
83K
like
ish? In
yeah
Bitcoin?
yeah I'm looking at the ES, but yeah,
Okay.
BTC as well, basically. So similar price action, yeah. But yeah, I personally feel like, which is probably not the most exciting answer, unless there are going to be some insane headlines coming in, some unexpected headlines now. Like there is a 20%, like two on the S&P, these are on the futures. The last week candle had like 12%. This week candle has like 15%. Generally, I feel like we are going to enter just much kind of a sideways debt environment after all of this, unless something is going to change drastically. And yeah, I think it's just been like too much incentive for like a too short period of the time at the moment.
Yeah, I do. Basically, I've even tweeted this. It's Thursday now. Session just opened 9 minutes ago. So in TradFi, we had three worst days in a row, consecutive three worst days since 2008 or 89, like one of the massive crashes. And we also had one of the best days, as I said this previously, since like Second
Yeah.
World War. And I would love the market to just calm the fuck down for a bit. And pardon my language, but it's just been too much. It's been very stressful, very headline driven, and it's like Trump has been a president for not even 3 months. I'm tired already. And if it's
Yeah.
it's
So much winning.
so much winning, every altcoin is down like 90,000%. But
No, I get that. Yeah, it's interesting, but I feel like it's not going to get much better, personally, because it's just if the whole kind of um it's just basically this kind of a trade war thing. It's just so much unexpected headlines. It's not good for anyone, basically. That's probably kind of a bottom line of all that. It's like not beneficial to anyone. So yeah, it's I think it's going to be a little bit tough when it comes to next couple of months. I wouldn't be surprised if once again that kind of a sell in May type of situation, especially if we would rally a little bit more. But yeah, it's very very hard to say. I think for me, like I said it a few times, it was pretty interesting to see Bitcoin holding up throughout all of this. That on its own, I don't think it's is it enough kind of a narrative to rally to new highs? Probably not, or at least I don't think so. But yeah, we had very crazy, like if you look at the S&P, basically like from 2022, we had like the last bigger correction in the stock market, which was like a not a end of the world type of situation, like if you look at COVID or basically COVID, or before COVID it was like 2008. But then there was like never, like the only proper correction was, I remember, in 2022, basically, when we
yes,
went down for like 9 months. And yeah, other than that, this thing truly trades like a honeypot. Just kind of goes up, then goes down for 2 days, and then goes up again. I think it's not the most kind of a unhealthy thing to just see, a little bit of a correction. And I think the whole kind of landscape um, is building up to that at the moment, which obviously I think is going to affect BTC as well.
so we can maybe finally move to something more crypto native. BTC 500. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I find it very ignorant to try to pretend, or us speaking to, I guess, some audience right now. It's like, you cannot just close both eyes and be like, oh, it's not real. It is real. And yeah, is there like any chart in crypto in particular? I mean, I still find, before I ask you the question, like I think there's a lot of good trades actually just in last 7 days. That being like, for example, maybe I can quickly talk about the long I took. So we actually say something of crypto value rather than just shitting on altcoins and saying it's all Trump headlines. I thought like my thesis for longing Bitcoin was that it's just I never believed in my like sane head that both US and China would like just allow. You had the headlines: worst day since 2008, highest VIX since 2008, worst or the highest. Like all the fucking end of the world headlines, and I like no way that some of the rich friends, including like people like Diamond, like Trump yesterday was quoting. I'm quote tweeting. I'm not sure if you've seen Jamie's content. It's just I thought basically there is no way they're not gonna do a pause or some sort of intervention because you cannot just have markets go full Allahu Akbar mode non-stop. And since we got that pivot, if you will, or pause, even though pause changes nothing, that was my exit. And now I'm not gonna quote the beat just yet, maybe just a few percent later, but Bitcoin is already down like 4% since my average exit, 3%. So there is still setups to be had, and I'm personally gonna just look for Bitcoin longs. When it comes to crypto, I think you have to be really brave to long anything. Maybe like Hyperliquid and Fartcoin. It's insane that
Yeah,
I'm saying
that
this out loud, but
those two seems to be probably the only two that seems to like do well at the moment.
yeah, I mean, still think Bitcoin is the easiest play. Meaning, like, if I want to long crypto, what is the instrument I want to be longing? It's gonna be, for me at least, BTC 500. What's
Yeah,
happening
I
now? More
mean,
sellers than buyers. Just TradFi rolling over, honestly. I
I
highly
think
encourage you people to do this in TradingView. I think you don't even have to have premium to set it up. Just have this spaghetti chart of Bitcoin, S&P, and Nasdaq. I know it's like. So let me show you on 15-second chart here. I'm very confident they're all dumping together.
it's going to be very tight together. So yeah, for altcoins, yeah, I think Fartcoin has basically become a hedge against the end of the world. People decided the chart looks good still. I think obviously it's like super volatile, uh, but yeah, it's kind of does make sense, I guess. For
Like if I had gone to my head and like you have to have 3 coins, it cannot be just Bitcoin. Bitcoin, Hyperliquid, and Fartcoin, which is
yeah.
a
No, but
generational
yeah,
top.
it does make sense though. With Hyperliquid still very popular. They had some issues, but seems to be they seems to be kind of working all of that out. And Fartcoin has just kind of become this self-fulfilling meme, I guess. Which is fine. And yeah, the chart looks great now. Like if I think this is this has been holding well, so actually has been going up quite a
Yes.
bit as well. Which is that kind of a difference. I guess between like BTC, obviously held well as well. Considering how much stocks sold down and everything, but stuff like Fartcoin, which obviously is lower liquidity, higher beta, and all of that. But it's like easier to move Farcoin than it's easier to move BTC. I think that's don't need to explain that, but yeah, this has been performing quite well. I would probably not buy it here, but if you would get pullback into some of that, we have like very clear even like SR, if you will, around 60 cents. 50, 60 cents basically area is looking pretty good if we
Yeah.
can hold that. And yeah, I think Hyperliquid, is that is there anything interesting on the chart? The chart that I have here, it has the lows at $10, so I think there's been a little bit of a uh, Yeah, we basically traded underneath $10, which these things are always kind of like you have you always with like round numbers, and especially round numbers like these, $10. Well, it's just these just act as support and resistance basically. It's not really rocket science here. So yeah, that's also
But
worked quite
just
well,
maybe
and
for
it's
some context, like the strongest like single outlier of the entire cycle, like buying
that's the
Arbitrum at $1 or whatever. Let's see how Arbitrum chart looks. Jesus fucking Christ. Holy fuck, man. Yeah, I would not buy. My point is, I would not buy 0.25 on Arbitrum just because it's a round number. The chart is down like trillion%.
No, we definitely should buy Arbitrum at 0.25. Yeah, other than that, I don't know, man. Altcoins, has not been doing really well. I think there are some things like Ripple bounced quite a bit, but still kind of hanging around in the middle of nowhere. I was looking at Solana
It's just sad.
the other day. Um, it's yeah, it's on like a higher time frame. It's basically hanging around that kind of a pause we had in the first quarter of 24, which acted as support in August. So it's kind of a more of a significant level if you go all into the astrology for men. But yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of these coins would be like for example Fartcoin, right? Like I didn't long it at the lows, and sorry to kind of bring it up again. I know that has been a bunch of people who were buying this in like 25 cent area, 30 cent area, basically from February to like 1 month, end of February, end of March, basically it's kind of a whole um accumulation or whatever that's called. But in my opinion, that's still quite risky. You are still kind of buying something which, just you feel like it's might have been strong, but this is like a one of 1,000 altcoins that actually went up, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these charts will look exactly the same
Yes,
from
it's
that
it's really pointless to
from
look at
that
charts.
yeah, but like then there was this clean strength, towards the end of the March when we basically just broke out through that, and you even see like obviously a lot of people just kind of a when they see something on CT like think that it's like immediate fate, and like Falcon has been getting traction for last like I would say 3 to 4 weeks at this point. And if you would still end up buying like week ago, which is basically kind of retest of this the structure, you will still be quite happy, I would say today. So yeah, it's just like for a lot of these altcoins, I would just really wait for like a clean strength, and clean strength here in a sense where like if you compared this to BTC, if you look at like end of the month, end of the last month, basically it's like 27th March, I think. Yeah, like from like 20th to 30th of March, like BTC was basically just had this like attempt to go up and then was just going down for the rest of the towards the end of the month, right? But if you look at Filecoin, we clearly pushed much higher than we did like similar correction, but immediately started to surviving back up. And I think there were some other things with like negative funding, although I does this even have like a spot market somewhere on like a bigger exchange?
I really don't know.
Um, yeah. So yeah, my point being here is that like I know most of you and like a lot of you are into altcoins and are always kind of a curious about altcoins, but uh, I would just wait for the very clean kind of a strength. Like you want to be looking at the chart and like you might like it or not, but it's been still Bitcoin has been the main thing since last year, since the ETFs launched. This whole kind of a move to the upside is Bitcoin driven, like it or not. But like if you want to be buying altcoins, I would really need to just like look at the chart and clearly see that okay, this is just stronger, or this is just like decorrelated to BTC, and this is something that I want to be trading, right? So, and you can obviously use the alt BTC charts for that as well.
Yeah, I actually pull out Fartcoin BTC. It's in a clear uptrend. It just that's the point.
Yeah,
Because basically there's maybe two altcoins that outperform Bitcoin since February. That's the whole point of this little segment. That's why I stick to Bitcoin, because it's, I think, just lazy and easy. Or like what, you know, like chances of the altcoin. Like if somebody snipes the bottom and they're like, oh, but my altcoin went up 30%. Sure, but how often is that the case, right? Like you buying the
yeah,
Pico Schmico bottom of the alt.
yeah. Yeah, so
But
that's
also,
that. I
also
think.
wouldn't you say, I'm not trying to FUD Fartcoin here, and I cannot believe we're half of the
Mhm.
show is about Fartcoin, but the whole relative strength meme, remember WIF at the time? That was literally the same thing. Also,
Yeah.
Solana meme also was performing pretty well, if I remember correctly. Um, Meaning performing well during the time of Bitcoin weakness, just literally like a year ago, right? That would be the, let's do with BTC actually.
I think I think for this, the way that I a lot of times just looked at things is it's tough because to be fair, like with Fartcoin, it's a bit tough because I wanted to mention that like if you can look at stuff like the open interest, for example, and but that's oh, it's not actually that bad. Yeah, like if you look at OI, right, and obviously you can head to Velo, just pull up the open interest
Mm-hmm.
in it's a very different. There are two very different charts when it comes to coins and when it comes to dollars. I kinda
It's actually a
always try
lot.
to prefer the coins. I think that's probably a little bit better. Um, Even though maybe for this one would be like a dollar amount as well. Well, the point is that you want to be obviously you have these like out performances. The thing with altcoins is, and what kind of makes it tricky, and what it's what always makes you kind of a regret you are closing that because uh, you know um, the the second you close it just goes higher. But look at basically like the historical levels of the open interest. We memed about throwing SR on the OI long
Is it
time ago,
fair? Is
but
it fair that I could like claim a trademark for that? Autism.
yeah. But yeah, that works. Like if you like, for example, now if I would look at the dollars, the OI in dollars, for Fartcoin, like you can see that we are pretty high, or like we were pretty
Yeah.
high yesterday, right? Like 164 mil. You can compare it. It's tough with the new stuff because the OI is like when these new coins launch, and this launched on, I have Binance chart here, which someone asked on the stream why we are not using Maxi chart for our Farcoin. Well, that's maybe has more
I
data,
am.
but like all of this. Okay. So, but like when it comes to like open interest and volumes and all that, you really want to be sticking with like a better exchanges than Maxi probably. Um, but it's tough with these new coins because like they launch and obviously the OI goes from like zero to whatever to in like first few weeks, and it's all kind of very messy. But yeah, like we pushed yesterday, 160 million open interest is kind of matching that list. Like the peak of the listing was 200. Then we had this kind of a fair-ish value around that 160. So like open interest in the dollar amounts is like you can think about basically in this way, like it's already quite high, and the price is obviously still much lower than it was when it got listed. Like this was trading $2.5 at some point. uh but basically you can I feel like I'm just trying to explain something and it doesn't make
No, no.
sense.
I might know
But
what you're
like
trying to say. Same amount
you
of
you
leverage
can
in the
you can
system while price is down
yeah, you
60%.
you can basically look at use something like this and have like an idea how much leverage or how crowded basically the market is based on how much money, how much leverage is in the pairs, which often is kind of a good signal to just cover something or like close the trade or at least not be super greedy, because obviously, especially after yesterday, like I think yesterday, and I cannot believe we already spent 20 minutes talking about Altcoin at this point, but like yesterday my feed was full of it. Like we had a
Yeah.
huge bullish candle, that looked like much better than BTC. That broke through once again new highs and everything. So yesterday this was like all over my feed. Looking at the open interest in it right now, it's quite high. So I wouldn't probably be that aggressive, basically.
It just
So
shows
yeah,
you.
just my 2 cents.
It's actually pretty easy. Like order flow can be really useful. Like a last cycle, I remember it with Solunavax. Remember, like every time
Yeah.
Hisaka tweeted, you would see open interest increase by 300 million in Solana, Avalanche, and Luna. And it's the same
Yeah.
thing with Hyperliquid and Fartcoin, which is not a bad thing. Which is, just to be clear, just observation, right? It's like water is wet, no shit. Breakthrough findings, but
Yeah.
yeah, can we move on
Okay.
from Fartcoin?
I think it has been enough of Bitcoin for one episode.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
TradFi
definitely
is dumping pretty badly. Pretty
one
bad.
of the markets that looks better. Probably at these prices, I would be a little bit careful with like a new exposure. Yeah. So are we? It's the 1 day bull market is already over. You are saying?
I cannot believe I closed the top. Time to tweet 11,000 times about it.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Maybe some
that's
chart
been-
requests, but it's most likely the answer is gonna. It looks like shit already without even checking the ticker.
Um,
Have you taken some TradFi
Yeah.
trades maybe?
I did really not. Last time I spoke about my biggest trade, which was long Canadian dollar, which actually played out very well during the cardboard presentation, which was beginning of the month. I really felt like Canada got hit very heavily at the beginning, and then it kind of wind off, and they were not even on the cardboard. So yeah, that was a very nice trade. It actually continues to go my way, but I closed most of it. I unfortunately bought the S&P a little too early last week, so I ate some shit when we kept down this week, so it wasn't really that great for me. Other than that, not really. I'm like I said, I try to hold stuff for longer now. Not really, like the trade on the USD CAD, the Canadian dollar futures. That took basically over a month of like a position. And yeah, like especially TradFi stuff just takes much more time, and I generally don't rush into much things. So yeah, but in this kind of environment, I'm already thinking about going back to lower time frame order flow LARPing, because holding everything with like a bigger size for like a longer, it's very very uncomfortable at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, before we started the stream, I told you that I finally had a good night's sleep because I closed my position. It's just,
Yeah, yeah.
it's,
And that's been only like a couple days, right? It's been like what, 4 days.
man, it's just, I don't know. Last week has been tough for me, like just like mentally, not financially. It's just too much to keep up, and I think I've been doing an okay job on the like news trading front. Just basically what it is, nothing cool about it. Nobody should aspire to do it. Sitting in front of computer every single day, all day, apart from occasionally, going for a run. But you just read the news feed all day, and just not healthy for the brain. And it's always the same shit, just Trump fuck something up, and then he claims cloud for fixing it. Just like, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah,
Yesterday
it's
he's like, markets are
definitely.
green. Like, no shit. Like, then the White House posts a video of him and his billionaire buddies in the White House, and saying, oh, this guy made $1 billion yesterday, this guy made $500 million, and they're all giving him look like, hey dude, shut the fuck up, you're being recorded. Just it's so tiresome. That's my whole point. And I don't know,
Yeah,
like, what is the, what is, like, what's next, right? We had CPI today. I have I have the Forex Factory calendar. Like, is there anything in particular that stands out to you? I know the answer is probably no, but like, what is there? Is there a specific catalyst event? I think the only way that can really truly bottom us is USA and China making a deal, which just does not seem likely at this point. And Nasdaq is down 4%. Just like just choppy.
yeah, it definitely is. I think that my kind of takeaway from all of this, and I'm still kind of sticking to it, is that the whole, like the whole situation basically, and the tariffs and all of this is like just not good for risk markets, right? Like I remember when, this got kind of announced early in the year, basically there were like so many theories how this is actually bullish for Bitcoin, how this is bullish for the S&P and for stock markets and all of it. And I think there's like not really a world where if the whole world is in this kind of a trade war, and everything is basically, it just creates inflation, and yeah, it's just like not good for risk markets. I think that's like a pretty simple statement, which seems to be overlooked. So I don't know, like I'm not really
So
like
touch grass
I
until they
also
shut up, or
yeah, well, I mean, no, like I was, like I was bullish for last 2 weeks, like when the S&P started selling down, I got some longs in the middle of the March. They actually worked well, then the last week was a little bit tougher because I got a little in too early, but like I have been more bullish and even on BTC, but like every trade that I kind of thinking about taking is just like very, very short term. Like like usually like before all of this mess, like last year for the stuff that I was, right, like really swing trading, every trade that I took was more in line with like how far I can run this, how I can just build this kind of a best position possible to, to kind of get into this case where things are going to, run, or how far they can run. I really last year in TradFi held some trades for quite a while, and they worked very well, and I was very like confident with when I was taking them that like there's like not that much going on basically, and I can just trade the magical indicator, astrology format stuff that I'm looking at, and have like a trust in that. But right now it's just like every trade I'm taking is like how I can just make this as tight as it is possible. Where is the first level I'm going to fully get out, because you have just so much stuff happening, and so much news, and so much everything basically going on. So yeah, it's tough, and I think I don't really want to just end up in this like a situation where a lot of people on Twitter seems to be ending up, where like you get you just like people just say things for like sake of saying things, and come up with all these like narratives and scenarios, and then it's like completely different because there's like just one news which completely going to change the whole narrative. I think it's just like my point is that I feel like there's like a lot of noise, uh, unsurprisingly, with all of this stuff. So I'm really just trying to personally just narrowing down the risk a little bit, kind of dialing down into lower time frames as well a little bit to not you
welcome
know
back.
get yeah, unfortunately.
You
I
promised to
still keep
exit
it, but
the low time frame fuckery, and you're back
no,
into.
I still keep it like relatively high, but yeah, it's definitely not the environment where I just want to have like a you know big position, which I would plan to hold for like be like I'm going to hold this for a month, I'm going to hold this for 2 months, and be like completely fine with that, because everything basically can change just with you know
One post from
one.
Trump.
Yeah, so it's tough, this is very much not a easy mode. This is a
Yeah.
quite a bit of a hard mode we have right now. So
Yeah, it's actually interesting how I hope a lot of people just not give up by like, I'm a shit trader, I should not do this, but just recognizing this is let's be honest, how do you have edge in this? You really don't. You know, I've seen a lot of people, me included, start like I knew I had to long, and I did when I started looking at what it is like a credit swap spread, and I'm like, okay, and like I have degree in economics, but like, what is, you know, how do spreads in Japan affect like a yields in US?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, that's enough. Buy BTC.
Yeah, no, but it's very valid, and I think like a lot of these things are very, it's funny and kind of weird with all of this macro stuff because it's like very useful to understand, but it's just like so much noise, and I feel like a lot of times it just doesn't give you that much of a like actual trade ideas, and people just like, you know, quote things on Twitter just for sake of, you know, saying something. But yeah, this environment, I would really say that like uh, there is a decent amount of volatility still. So like you can, you know, day trade. Um, People are going to be making mistakes, you know, in crypto. There's like, you know, all these liquidations, all these kind of flushes of the OI. I think even yesterday before we rallied, if you look at like very lower time frames around, I think it was like before New York Open, I was looking at like some lower time frame stuff on BTC, and there's like a decent kind of sell off, you know, with like a open interest puke, um, which obviously doesn't have anything to do with what kind of followed because like that doesn't really it's not like indicative of, you know, the good news are coming, don't take me wrong, but like, you know, like if you would for example long into that small sell be it intraday, you know, you would end up making money. So looking at all these situations, basically when the volatility is kind of increasing, you have more people trading, you know, people get more greedy, people get more sloppy, you know, they oversize, not understanding, you know, the conditions that we are in and all of that. So yeah, I think there is a lot of things you can do now, but most of them are more intraday because you, as much as you can kind of avoid this headline risk, basically, it's probably better for you. So yeah,
It actually lines up pretty nicely if I think about it now. We have 10th of April, they delayed it by 3 months. And as sad as it is, it's just, you know, each summer has been pretty boring last few years. It's the usual sell in May and walk away. It's not even about that the price is going to go down, it's more about that the period of time is usually pretty boring, if I'm not mistaken. So if we extrapolate 3 months, if I look at it, delay on the tariffs, it puts us into like early July. Now it's
yeah,
usually still pretty boring.
yeah, yeah.
May, June, July.
We will see. We will see. Oh, okay. So I think
Unless
we
there's
can
questions.
slowly wrap things up. If someone has any questions, feel free. But yeah, other than that, um, it's going to be it for today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, the streams are sponsored by BonkBot. If you want to show us some support, you can check out BonkBot with the link I posted in the chat. And yeah, with all of that being said, you are going to see us sharing our uneducated
Macro ticks.
geopolitical takes around a week from now. So yeah, see you soon.